Neil, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me. I know you're extremely busy. Managing a Premier League club, I'm sure, is time-consuming, all time-consuming.
Yeah, time-consuming, but tiring as well, really, especially this time of year where, you know, you're trying to improve your squad, but it's so difficult.
And in terms of how you've performed this season, what has been the biggest positive that you can take away? Probably the clean sheets.
Yeah, we've got six of those. I mean, we've won games at home. The disappointment has been really to say it's the Premier League, you know, we could have had 8 or 9 more points quite easily. Some of the games we had at home against Arsenal, Burnley, people like that, we should have got points on board against those, you know, and we didn't for whatever reason. And I think it's knocked us back really, because you have to get the points when they're there. We've found scoring goals difficult, but it wasn't so much scoring goals that cost us early doors, it's been defending. Elementary things which we were good at last year, conceding from free kicks, corner kicks, you name it. It's been disappointing for me that. I know we've now booked up and got 6, like I say, 6 clean sheets, but early on in the season, you couldn't see a clean sheet coming, really.
No, that's a surprising thing. Yeah. But how do you approach the games? Because you have a board here, I can see all your fixtures. Yeah. I don't think I'm revealing any secrets there. I mean, it's publicly known when you're playing. Do you mark the games where you think, all right, this is where we have to get all 3 points, i.e. teams around you?
Well, I don't think it's so much we have to get them. I think what you do is, I think nowadays, for teams that have got promotion, I think the top 3 or 4 are pretty much out of reach now. They've improved so much, you know, the money they've spent. You know, you're talking £200–300 million. So whereas there was always a shock on the cards, there aren't so many shocks now in that top 3, 4, 5 clubs. So you do look, then you get another league, little mini league of your Evertons and that's, you know, in that cluster below the top group. And then you're down to the bottom half of the table, you know, where everybody's scrapping. So, you know, you target them. There's I think below the top 5, I would say 6 maybe. Any game's winnable.
Yes.
That's how I look at it. So we have to be on a good day to beat some of the teams, like Leicester when we beat them a few weeks ago. We had to be on a really good day, and they had to have a bit of a poor day, and we scored a brilliant goal to win it. So, you know, that's the type of thing that we have to do to get points away from home.
And also, I guess anything you get from those top 6 would be considered a bonus. You look at what Palace did, for example.
Yeah,
a few weeks ago.
They've got quite a bit more experience in the way they set up. I think that's why they probably struggle more at home than away, because, you know, they do catch teams on the break with the pace of Zaha and Townsend, etc. So I can understand why they cause problems, you know, because they have got a decent team, and when they all play together, when they play well, they're quite capable of, like they say, beating the top teams. So it's intriguing really, because they've all got different strengths and different weaknesses, and it's you know, we have to look after ourselves really and try and find a way that we can get points with the squad we've got.
Yeah, and what do you think your strengths are? You're talking about the other teams, the pace of Townsend and Zaha. What about your team and a typical Neil Warnock team?
Yeah.
What's the strength of that?
Well, I think everyone knows that the minimum requirement for my teams is 100% effort. I mean, that goes without saying. The problem I've had since I came here, we've been here now 2 years, just over 2 years, is, you know, we were fighting relegation to Division 1 when we came. We were next to the bottom. And so we had to bring players in the neck to keep us up, first and foremost, which we did. Then we had to improve the squad to give us a chance at the start of the season to try and get in the playoffs of the Championship. We did that, and then at Christmas time we were up at the top level, so we had to improve the squad again to stay there, to give us a chance to once again staying in the playoffs, we thought. But then we went up automatically. So then we've had to jump again to improve, and now we find ourselves at Christmas having to improve again. So we've gone so quickly that we haven't been able to catch up with ourselves with the transfer windows. You know, we've always been battling to improve the squad as best we can.
Sounds like you've improved too fast, though.
It is. It's the story of the whole club. I mean, if you'd have said to me when I arrived 2 years ago, we'd play Burnley, for example, and have a full house, have 30-odd thousand people here, they wouldn't have believed you. But we have 30,000 plus every game now. That's just taken. They're using it. The fans are really, really pushing the boat out now to supporters. It's almost like it's their responsibility to get behind us. You know, there's no criticism, even when we were poor last week. No criticism of the team. Just one of those days to put it down to, you know. And whilst the manager usually gets flack, and I'm sure there are pockets of people that, you know, always think I'm rubbish and get him out and that. In general, they've been amazing, the fans. And I think when you've got a group of fans like that, who they know we've come up too soon, and we were supposed to get less than 11 points by some of the critics. We were the worst team ever been in the Premier League. So to be on 19 now in January is a real bonus for us, and they're contributed to that, the fans.
Well, you're talking about progression and how you've improved so fast. What's your prediction now of where Cardiff will be in, say, let's give it 5 years?
Well, I don't know. I know I won't be here. That's the first thing.
You'll be 75.
Yeah, I will. I'll be too old for that then. I don't think in football or in life in general nowadays you can look ahead like that. I know where they should be. There should be an established team like your West Ham's, Everton, because of the fan base and the stadium and everything. But a lot's got to change, and you know, the structure of the whole club will have to change over the next few years. You know, we like, for example, we've had a planning permission for a training ground, which is, you know, is needed really, and things like that would have to come on board, and so it needed a lot of hard work. But the hardest part at the moment is trying to stay up there with you know, all the big hitters that have spent money over the years. You know, I don't think it's any. You know, I think there's only the nearest to us is Huddersfield, and I think their wage bill is probably double ours. So
really,
you know, yeah, it's not far off. So you know, we're up against it, but it's not one of those where, you know, I've said to Vincent, oh, we need more money or this, that. You know, when I speak to Vincent, he's like a supporter as well. He's madly enthusiastic about everything, and he tries to support me. But I think because the last time they were in the Premier League, they're a little bit reluctant to push the boat out as much because they got stung last time. I think that's how they thought.
Well, it's quite unique because QPR is also Malaysian owned. Obviously, Cardiff is. What's the difference between the two owners?
Well, Tony Fernandez, I like Tony, but he was green when he came in. Flavio Briatore. I mean, I got promotion in April, end of April, and couldn't buy a player till the window was closing at the end of August. I had 6 or 7 players to sign. Every time I wanted to sign him, he said, no, I'm selling the club. I'm selling the club, you can't have any money. And then poor old Tony Fernandez come in at the last, you know, right at the death, and we had to buy 6 players. And you know, when you rush things like that, you can't get it right. So, but we were never in the bottom 3 when I was there.
No.
At Christmas time. But like I say, he was new to the game, Tony, and he got so many texts and WhatsApps, and Tony loves his social media.
He does. And
you know, he had all these experts telling him to sack the manager and bring Mark Hughes in and things like that. And eventually, he did that in January. He brought Mark in, but funnily enough, I think I've always kept in touch with Tony. You know, I get on quite well with him, I think. And about 18 months later, he said to me, "Well, I made a mistake in letting you go, but it cost me about £200 million." So I said it couldn't happen to a nicer man.
I know. Oh, it's a crazy expenditure at the club.
It is, yeah.
But when it comes to managers getting sacked, one just went, didn't he?
Yeah.
David Wagner. So do you pay attention to this? Do you communicate?
I
because
think,
it's the managers' union, you know.
Yeah, I think when you're younger, you do. Because when you're younger, you've got to pay the bills, and you're enthusiastic about trying to be successful. But when I was younger, you know, you used to think I need 3 or 4 years to lay myself down, to build a club. You can't. I mean, you've got 3 or 4 games.
That's it.
Now, when you're a young manager, so I don't worry about the sack, because if I wanted to work, I'd probably get the best job offer that I've ever had at the minute. So that doesn't worry me. I think it's just your own personal pride now as a manager. Like, this job is so hard anyhow, whether you've got money or not. And I think it's just determination that I've had all my career to prove people wrong, really. That's the thing that drives me on, proving people wrong, I think. You know, when people say, you know, you're the worst side in the league, it bugs me a little bit, do you know what I mean? And
so it does get to you?
Oh, yeah, and the fans know, you know, the fans are behind me as well, and we'll show everybody. And that's why they've lifted their volume levels, they've been amazing. The atmosphere down here, and when we go away from home, they're amazing. They sell out nearly every game, and it's a good tribute to them.
When it comes to winning games, where do you draw the line? Because right now there's that whole spy incident with Marcelo Bielsa at your former club Leeds, obviously, involving Derby. What's your take on that? Because if someone wanted to come and spy on you, we're basically at a golf course. I could quite easily just come and watch you train, couldn't I?
Well, I wouldn't. You know, if you wanted to come and watch us, you'd be more than welcome. Even the spies, because I think if the spies come, it would confuse them.
Yeah, understood. Okay.
So yeah, I welcome the spies can come and watch us, because I think they would confuse everything. So I'm not really too bothered about that, if I'm honest. You know, we've all, you know, I think when you look at I think from where Bielsa comes from, it's quite common practice there. You know, they have open training sessions, and there's always somebody there making notes of things and what have you. But at the end of the day, when the whistle goes, I'm not too bothered if somebody's watched us train or not.
You don't care?
No, not really. I don't.
But it's not something you would do.
No, I think now we've got enough on your plate now to just look at the opponents. You get so much information now. We never had all the video technology and everything, you know. And a lot of clubs, a lot of owners go on stats now. Whereas I don't think stats win you games. You know, I know they look good, but you know, against Burnley, for example, we had 29 shots to their 3, I think, and they beat us 2-1.
Yeah, it was a very odd anomaly, that match.
So it's, you know, stats are, whilst it's okay to have a look at for some things, I don't think that they should become the be-all and end-all, you know.
Understood. When it comes to technology, what's your take on it? Because we've worked with Sam Allardyce, and he seems to be quite keen on his technology. And he used to watch from high up in the stands, and he had those American football-style mouthpieces. I'm not sure what to call it. But I noticed you're wearing an iWatch, for example. Yeah, but that's do you like technology in the game?
I think it's important, yeah. I mean, I wear this health-wise, really. I like to know. Well, my daughter bought it me, and she's on one of these Keep Fit. She's training to be a radiotherapist, Amy. And so she bought me this, and we compare how many thousand steps we've done each day.
Wow. Okay.
So it's just a bit of fun as well, really. And but the technology, I mean, our kids. I don't think it's. I think whilst it's improved a lot of things in life, your generation, for example. But when I was younger, because there were no technology, you made things yourself for entertainment. I'm not sure it's better that when I look at my kid now, or when I go into a hotel foyer, I see everybody. You know, everybody's oblivious to what's going on. They're all on an iPad or a computer, and I'm not sure it's for the better long term, if I'm honest. They call it the future, don't they? But I'm not sure the future brings the kids up any better than where we were, you know, where you had to make your own entertainment. You went off and, you know, put your trainers down for a game of football after school, you know. You didn't run home and get on your PlayStation or whatever it is and start playing these war games with your friend 100 miles away. I'm not sure that's healthier.
Mark, with respect to you, I'm going to put this aside for my last few questions because I think it's quite appropriate. Looking at your room, and I don't want to give anything away, give anything private here, but how do you go about getting ready for games? Because we have this board here, and I can see all your first team players, and then, I mean, do you map everything out?
We try.
Visuals?
Sometimes you have to just sort of sit back and have a look at the opponents and decide different formations, etc. And it's surprising how when you sat over there, it makes it quite simply. It simplifies everything when I can put squads up and what else can we do? How can we change it? And that's where Kevin Blackwell and Ronnie Jepson have been with me quite a while now. They understand where I'm coming from, and you know they know when I want simplicity, if you know what I mean, and systems, and because it is the game. Bill Shankly, when I was younger, I remember him saying, "The game is simple. It's people that make it difficult. Footballers make it difficult." And it is. It's a simple game, really. It's just everybody tries to complicate it.
Yeah. Well, you've been managing for 40 years?
Yeah.
Slightly less than that.
I know.
That's longer than I've been alive.
I know.
I don't want to rub it in, but
I know.
you'd have seen so many different generations of players and how they can be treated. I'm trying to put this gently, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, my worst time in management was probably when I was at Palace, probably, where players were talking to the chairman after training, for example, going out with the chairman, you know, into London and places like that, where it belittles the manager. It makes you, it does not, it takes away all the discipline at a club. Because if you drop a player or you have an argument with a player, he's not going to say anything good, is he, to the chairman?
No, of course.
So I found that very difficult to accept that. QPR a little bit as well. But other than that, I've had great squads. You know, when I look at my promotions, most of my promotions, the 8 promotions I've had, they all have reunions every couple of years. Are you with me? I'm not being nasty when I say I can't see Manchester City having together. A reunion, or Arsenal, or people like that. Are you with me? I think it's changed entirely now, isn't it? It's about money now, really. So I think I had the best time. I think my career's been through the best period, really. Not saying that money isn't everything nowadays, but you know, it rules the roost now with a lot of, especially a lot of foreign players coming over here. And it is a good standard, this, you know, and the crowds. Even when you look at our bottom division, you know, you've got crowds of 18,000 at Portsmouth and 20-odd thousand. Are you with me? And the lower divisions, it's a great country for football. Is England? We're really pleased how we are. England, Wales, they've got 2 cracking. You know, not just Cardiff but Swansea as well. The rivalry there, and you can see that all the time. You know. So I think that the game itself is healthy. It's just that you can't blame people for trying to make as much money as they can, and that part of the game I don't enjoy. I enjoy rewarding players that have done well for me, and giving them contracts and extending and rightly increasing the salary as well. That gives me a lot of pleasure. I don't like the other side of it, where people just come for the money. You know, what's on the table, not, you know, can I have a look at your club? It's, you know, how much am I going to get? That part I'm not overly keen. That does put me off players, if I'm honest. I probably miss out on 1 or 2 players because of that attitude, really.
But you don't want that in the squad, do you?
I don't want that in the squad.
Contaminate the squad.
Yeah, you only need 1 bad apple, and I've had that in a couple of clubs, and it does. A bad apple soon rots the barrel.
Are you glad that? I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but are you glad you don't have to manage, say, a Paul Pogba who's so visual and social media, and he's out there, and it looks like he can be a hard character to...
Not really, no. I wish I had got a Paul Pogba.
Of course, in terms of on the pitch, though, yes.
Well, I don't. I think that's, you know, I think you've seen... I mean, Ollie's been probably the luckiest thing he's ever done in his life, getting the job when he got the job. Because it wasn't rocket science to pick the team that he did. You know, Rashford's always been my favourite up front, and the lads he's playing with, Lingard and Martial and that, and Pogba and the whole, and let them enjoy it. You know, his problem will be probably in a few months' time when they've had a few bad results, and you know, and they still need to work. I think their defence, they'll have to spend money on that in the summer. Are you with me? So it's not always rosy football management. You know, people say Ollie should get the job now. Are you with me? Listen, it's amazing that. You know, to be in the job for 6 weeks and all of a sudden you know that you're the best thing since sliced bread. It's so up and down management. You've really got to have it over a period and realise, you know, because you only learn in management when you have upsets, when you have kickbacks, and you know, Ollie's not had a kickback yet. Everything's been rosy, you know, and quite easily if they hadn't have had De Gea at Tottenham, might have got beat 6. So football is such a fine line, you know, between success and failure, and that's why I have enjoyed my 8 promotions, because they've all been really hard work, but really rewarding. Can
I ask though? It seems for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's getting the best out of players as a man manager.
Yeah.
When I walked in here, someone told me, I'm not going to say who, one of your greatest attributes is your man management, your ability to get the best out of players. What do you do exactly? Imagine I was your player and I'm feeling a bit low. What would you say to me?
Well, it's not. I think it's knowing your players that you sign, and then when you've got them under your wing, you know that there are elements that you didn't know about them. So you know, certain lads that you thought were confident are probably not as confident, and certain lads that were all macho are probably the opposite underneath. So it's a matter of knowing everybody individually, and it's almost like having 20 kids.
Wow.
And
Okay.
then thinking, how am I going to make? The biggest thing for me is I want my players to come through the door wanting to train and knowing we're going to have a laugh, it's going to be funny, but it's going to be hard work. I think if you can match those up, I think life is too intense at times. I think football's too intense. So I think that if you enjoy coming in, and I would say now that Rashford, Pogba, the others have never enjoyed it so much for a long time like this. The freedom that they've got. And if you can have that and enjoy coming in, it's amazing how much more you can give. And that's not just in football, that's in your job as well. If you're in a good environment, you'll work harder. You'll be happier, you'll want to meet more people, you want to be better in your job. Whereas if it's a miserable, you're not happy at home, you're not happy in your life, you're not happy this and certain things, it's almost like hard work getting out of bed. And it can't be like that. To last 38 years like I have, if I hadn't built my teams up, and every club I've been at, I've been struggling. I don't get any good jobs.
Yeah, but you've done a great job everywhere you've been.
I know, but it's hard work.
I can imagine.
Everywhere I go, it's first of all having to put fires out. There used to be a guy called a Red Adair. I don't know whether you ever heard of him. He used to put oil tanks out, or whatever they call them, oil wells. So I class myself as like a Red Adair really, because nobody wants me unless they're struggling. And I love to go in, and the main thing for me is, when I look at my career, I think, look at all your clubs. I don't think there's many that when I've left a club, I haven't left them in a better position, a better situation. Fans will always remember my teams, are you with me? All the Wembley trips and the promotions.
Have you got some manager of the month trophies there as well?
I know. Well, I have to leave them there because my wife cannot stand those at home.
Oh, that's why they're here.
Yeah, they're here because, we used to get, when I first started, we used to get a piece of china.
Okay.
We used to get a lovely glass decanter. When she loved them, right? And I mean, where would you put that in the house?
I don't know if you have your own study at home, but maybe. You got some newspaper articles up there as well. Is there significance for that?
Yeah, it was funny times. That the one on the Greenan is my old Sheffield sports paper, and they did little clips about me going back in time, even refereeing.
Yeah, is that true that you are actually a qualified ref?
I haven't refereed for a few years.
Okay.
But when I did start management, I used to enjoy on a Sunday actually going out and refereeing and having a blowout, really. I never refereed correctly, really. I used to swear at players if they give me any lip.
Understood.
But I enjoyed refereeing. And my dad was a top referee, a Class 1 referee. So I do enjoy that bit. And after training this morning, I'm going to be having 11-a-side out there, and I'm going to referee that as well.
You're refereeing the 11-a-side?
Oh, yeah, because I keep it going. They work hard, my lads.
Okay.
So there's ball never stops.
Understood.
Yeah.
Final question, because I know you do have to get out to training. I'm taking up a lot of your time. I can see your desk from here. I see some books. What do you read? What do you do away from football to just relax, to just enjoy life? Yeah,
well, I'm very fortunate in a way. Sharon, my wife, I don't know whether, obviously with you being abroad, what it was, I retired a few years ago, and believe it or not.
I remember you said, no, this is it, I'm done.
Yeah.
But then you came back.
I did a few, about 6 months on the radio, and I enjoyed it. And Sharon developed breast cancer, and she was having chemotherapy at home one morning with a nurse, and I was sat in the settee, and I'd been out, I think, collecting the eggs from the chickens.
Okay.
And that. Took William to the bus stop, and they started talking about me, and she said, and that morning I'd had a phone call from one of my old clubs, Rotherham United. Chairman said, will you come and help him out? And I went, I'm sorry, Chairman, I said, but 5 hours in the car at my age, I can't be doing that, the motorways. So he said, oh, well, if you ever change your mind, you'll let me know, won't you? We'd love to have you to try and get us out the car. So anyhow, this morning the chemotherapy was there, she was all wired up and that, and she's talking to the nurse, and as if I'm not there. He splashes the water. Every time he washes the pots, there's water everywhere. He never fronts a cushion when he sits down. I've never seen him make a bed. And she's going off like this. I said to her, hold on a minute, love. I said, I'm sat here. I said, Rotherham's rung me this morning. They want me to go till end of the season. I can get away from you if you want. She went, yeah, bugger off.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Wow, I didn't realise this. Okay.
So I went to Rotherham,
Yes.
and they were 6 points adrift. A miracle. It was no, you couldn't get us out of that in the Championship. And we stayed up the next to the last game. It was an absolute... But the Rotherham fans, everybody got on board. We made those lads feel so important. They thought they were the best team in the league. We went 12 games undefeated in the Championship for Rotherham, which is unbelievable, the record. And to stay up like that, that gave me the appetite, and I've had 7 promotions then. They offered me a lot of money to stay, and I nearly stayed, but it would have been for the wrong reasons. I then thought, I want an 8th promotion. So we talked to Blackburn, Forest, and there were a couple of clubs, Derby County. And I kept thinking I was going to go to one of these, never developed. And then October, I spoke to Mehmet Dalman, who's the chairman here, and he asked me to come here. And within 5 minutes of meeting him, I shook his hand. I said, I'm coming. He said, no, will you sign something? I said, I don't need to sign something. I've shook your hand.
Yeah.
It's Yorkshire lad. So he went off and rang Vincent, and then he come back and he said, will you just sign this, because he knew Derby County were talking to me. I said, I've shook your hand, Mehmet. So he got a serviette out.
And you just...
I just signed the serviette.
That's like Lionel Messi's first contract. It was on a tissue.
I know, but Mehmet Dalman, I would trust him 100%. He's been an amazing chairman. So to do that and then keep them up the first year, then turn it round and get promotion, it's just been out of the dreams, really. It's been the hardest job I've ever had to do. By a mile. To rush improve every transfer window, and then to get promotion to the Premier League. And now, to give ourselves a chance, we're still favourites to go down. Make no mistake about that. When you look at the Newcastles and Southamptons and the squads they've got, we've got to be above them teams. Are you with me? So we're still, favourites, but we're going to give it a good shot, and that's the challenge. Have I got one more challenge to do?
You do. You've got so much energy, so much warmth. It's unbelievable. And you still haven't answered my question, though. What do you do when you're trying to relax?
I love my dog. I've got 2 dogs.
Okay.
I've got a Shih Tzu and a Norfolk Terrier, and I always like living at the seaside or on the beach. So I live about 25 minutes from here, and when I get home, walking boots on, onto the beach, walk for miles. We walk, do my 13,000 steps.
Already?
Whatever it is.
No, I'm a lot less than you are. Okay.
So I go on the beach. My wife loves walking, and I also like in the weather. I cycle. I love cycling, but I'm electric cycle. Now you might say that's cheating, but I'm 70 years old, so I don't want to get off the bike to go up hills. So I only click my bike, into my gear when I'm going up the hills.
Yes.
So I enjoy cycling, and I love fishing. I love fishing. I've got a little pond near where I am, about 10 minutes away, and carp fishing is, I can just go and sit there and relax and think about football and things, I love...
So freshwater fishing is just for you to...
freshwater fishing, yeah, I'm not a sea fisher. I like watching them, but I can't just sit at the side and wait for a bell to ring. I like looking at my float, bobbing and seeing the fish.
Nice rivers here in Wales.
Yeah, there are some lovely rivers, yeah. So that's what I really enjoy. And, when I do retire, we love Italy as well, and so we've got a little place in one of the lakes there, and I love walking. Italy's a lovely place. So we've got 1 or 2 things to do. It's just that I never thought I'd be still at it at this age. It creeps up on you. That's why when you're young, you've got to enjoy yourself, because before you know where you are, you're my age, and you're running down, and that's difficult nowadays, because everybody my age that I know, they're either popping the clogs or,
Well, there was that picture of you and Roy Hodgson meeting each other as 2 70-year-old managers. It's unbelievable.
He makes me look good.
He does, actually. I hope he never sees this, because you don't look your age.
Don't show him, will you?
No. It'll be our little secret, Yeah. Niels, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you very much.
All the best.
Thank you.